Welcome to Success Solutions International. Hi, I'm your host, Robert N.L. Browning. Today's guest is Steve Mady, a founder and CEO of Golden Icon Productions. And the title of the show is A Life Journey of Achieving True Mastery in the Field of Professional Video Production. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you. I've gotten to know Steve over several months, and what an amazing story. We'll share some of that today. What an amazing, dedicated career, starting at a young age. But let me share a bit more on the structured side of Steve's background so you can get a feeling of some of that journey. Steve's career has spanned more than 40 years in achieving mastery in every aspect of professional video production. Steve's father had a notable influence in inspiring his interest in the field, working on films together when he was just a child. So this interest started quite early. Mr. Mady pursued this interest and passion in film and video production his entire life since he was a child. This included an advanced education with a degree in broadcasting, TV production, and communication at top educational institutions, including Glassboro State in New Jersey and the University of Wisconsin-Platteville and Stevens Point, where he finished his formal degree education, landing him a coveted internship with CBS at the time, which is a big deal if you're in this industry. When you land one of those big ones, it usually means you're top of the class. So for the next 14 years, Steve progressively advanced his career and his well-rounded professional skills, working with a variety of positions in premier national and regional television networks and top production firms in Wisconsin. And so for more than 26 years, or more than 26 years ago, I should say, Steve co-founded Golden Icon Productions in Wausau, Wisconsin. And Steve, I know you did this with a partner to start, and since then he's moved on to other things. But do you want to mention his name? I know it's important to you.
Sure. Yeah, that was Bill Jones.
Yeah, and Bill Jones also worked in the field and had relevant background, which made a big difference, right?
That's correct. Yeah, he was a very important part of the picture early on. He and I were working for the CBS affiliate in Wausau, Wisconsin. He was in sales and I was in production at the time, and things were changing at that CBS affiliate, and that's to make a long story short, that's how Golden Icon was born. We agreed to form Golden Icon, and he was the sales arm and I was the production arm, and yeah, we created Golden Icon in late '96 and came running out of the gate on January 1st, '97.
Yeah, and how long did you guys work together?
We worked together for 6 years, and he retired in 2003.
Wow. So he got you off to a strong start. So Steve continued to lead his firm, and not only from the beginning with his partner, but after that, and it continued to thrive for many years. And his company served a wide mix of clients, from large to small, from for-profit to nonprofit in central Wisconsin. And this included projects nationally and internationally, which took you all the way to Europe, right?
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. With my background having grown up in Europe, I had connections there, and in the last 10 years was able to go back to Europe and reconnect with some of my friends from my childhood, and formed some business ventures that allowed us to do some work over there on a variety of projects that were very interesting. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And obviously, we'll share more about it, but how many, you speak a couple languages, right?
That's right. Yeah. Having grown up in and done my elementary school in Geneva, Switzerland, my parents were very they were very insistent that we go to French speaking school there, and that's what we did. So we learned the language. We were immersed in it.
That's a nice advantage. I actually love that language. Some distinctive things about Steve: he leads from the front, meaning he's the focus of the projects, does the primary. He's on every project, and I think that's important. And when the founder owner is still the heart and soul of the company and leading his team, and he is known and valued for, he has an endearing nature and even tempered. He has his own unique creative process. A big advantage, he brings original ideas, and he has a certain high standard to, even in the smallest detail, to do a great job and hold to certain standards, an excellent work ethic, true professionalism, and consistent positive results. Because if you're working on something to impact your company in the marketplace, you want it to have a good impact and grow your company. So this includes for him a local team of dedicated, conscientious professionals he's vetted over time. And Steve and Golden Icon Productions continue to clearly lead the field in central Wisconsin. I know there's a lot of people putting their toes in the water, in all markets with that changing field. But when people are seeking excellence, quality, and value, it's pretty clear nobody is in the same league with Steve. And he specializes in cinematography, editing, encoding, effects, legacy documentaries, and remembrances, branding, and commercials. And Golden Icon Productions, it's kind of note, is officially celebrating their 26-year milestone of inspiring to do their best work ever going forward. And keeping that standard I mentioned of best quality professional video production for those that recognize the difference. I do like to mention the saying from Mark Twain about the difference between lightning and lightning bugs. They may have the word lightning, but if somebody just bought an iPhone and has an idea, it's a little different than masters all the key aspects of professional video production. So Steve, after 26 years, wow, and sticking with it, and even having a number of cool projects coming up, not only for clients, but telling some of your own story going forward as well. And so that's part of the purpose of this. Is Steve is he's understated, even though he has all this incredible talent and experience. So it's a pleasure to be able to highlight what makes him unique and different as a person and in the marketplace. So how does that sound, Steve?
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah, Steve is usually behind the camera, not in front of the camera. So even though he has mastery in that, it's not often he steps in front of the camera. So thanks for that. So Steve, let's talk. We touched on it a little bit. Let's talk about how your unique childhood growing up in Europe, and all your unique history with your family, which I know could, take a very long show. I know there's a feature article coming out about you soon. did you want to mention some highlights from growing up in Europe and that early phase in life?
Oh, well, highlights.
Well, I know you
Boy,
worked with your dad and you had a unique history and with your family and how it worked together and 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 being in a foreign land and sharing experiences that inspired you to even continue to want to move forward with this unique field.
yeah, well, we were, well, as you and I had talked about this, it was an interesting time, being a foreigner in a land during Vietnam. That was a very interesting time. Geneva being a very international city, there were a lot of people living there from different places. So we weren't the only ones. We had a lot of friends from different lands. So it was a very exciting time to be growing up in a place, getting to meet a lot of different people with very unique ideas of how life should be lived. we have a lot of interesting stories we can tell about growing up and what we did to get in trouble and get out of trouble. But anyway,
Yeah, and I know your dad had there's a lot of history here, but your dad had a prestigious position there, and your parents and your family were unique, and you did a lot together, and they really worked hard to make sure you were well-rounded, right?
oh yeah, that's right. We traveled a lot as a family, traveled all over Europe, went, to Greece, to Spain, to Italy, Yugoslavia. My parents wanted to make sure that, as we got well-rounded, got to taste all the different foods, um, that kind of stuff. Didn't take anything for granted. But in doing all that, my dad, being a photographer, was always had his camera out, and I was inquisitive about that, and that led to him always letting me try things out. And as you and I have talked, he was also, he had been using his camera since he was a young man, even before he was, even when he was a kid. And so he got into moving pictures, and so he taught me how to edit film at a young age, and that's
And
how I got into it.
how old were you when that started?
Oh, I don't know, 7, 8, something like that, 6, 7, 8, probably. It was a long time ago.
That step to career and and gives a clue of how did that source of motivation begin. And I know that's a big chapter in and of itself, but in the years that you were in business uh, with Golden Icon Productions, gosh, in 26 years, you've had an immense amount of different projects, profit, nonprofit, as we mentioned earlier, taking in other countries, big names, smaller companies, helping out the community with the local nonprofits in a generous way. And gosh, in a podcast, you can only touch on that so much. But did you at least want to mention maybe you could share some names people may know and even highlight a couple interesting assignments?
Sure, yeah. We back in the day when I worked for the CBS affiliate, one of the things that we did on a yearly basis was the World Championship snowmobile races in Eagle River, and that was a big one. That was um, held in January up in Eagle River, Wisconsin, and the whole production team was involved and the whole engineering team was involved. It was basically a week-long, 10-day long assignment by the time it was done. And snowmobile racers from all over the Midwest and Canada would assemble there and race throughout the week and go through the time trials. And then the big race was on Sunday. And yeah, that was a challenge, that to get that whole event taped, and then it would, I mean, just the sheer nature of televising a program like that in 25, 30, 35 degree below zero temperatures was
Wow.
a challenge. And, we were outside. Back then I was running a camera, and then we had to set up everything in advance. And after the event was over, we had to tear down the whole event, and everything's frozen. The cables back then, there was no such thing as wireless. Everything was cable. So
Right.
you had to wrap up these long hundreds of yards of cable, and they were frozen. So
Sounds brutal.
yeah, it was interesting. It was fun though. It was fun.
Almost sounds like Antarctica. And you've worked for some big names like in Wisconsin, the Menards, right? And
yeah, Ray, good old Ray Samanda. He was a great guy.
oh yeah, he had that voice for a long time for them. And you've even done some projects that have to do with virtually capturing famous figures, both positive and negative, in Wisconsin, and doing your own shoots and bringing your own creativity in a way that enhanced what they were working on, even if they didn't ask for it. You went the extra mile, right?
Oh yeah, I always try and give whoever I'm working for or with, extra material to work with, because well, that it just can help make the story better. And
you did a project for that, gave a black eye to Plainfield, Wisconsin, Ed Gein, and they were doing a documentary on it, and you had the idea of going to a cemetery at night to add some depth to what they were doing.
Yeah, that's right. That was a number of years ago. I guess it was a Midwest show had hired us to go to that town and interview a bunch of people about Mr. Gein and the butcher of Plainfield, as some people know him. And they had been interviewed so many times about him. So, here I showed up and they didn't want to talk, but so to coax them to talk about him again was challenging. And I got some interviews and some footage to support what they were talking. And I decided, well, that's what they wanted, but if you're familiar with the story about what he did was pretty gruesome. But he would go and dig up fresh corpses and that kind of stuff. And
So you went to the actual cemetery where that happened?
Yeah.
Oh, that's creepy.
I stuck around until it started getting dark, because he did it at night, and was running around in the cemetery with a camera, doing it from his point of view, shooting it from his point of view, to get him that this is some B-roll that they didn't request or even think of. But I felt, well, maybe they can use this.
Could you tell people what a B-roll is?
Yeah, B-roll is footage that would be used to help tell the story. It when you get away from an interview and you go to some footage that depicts what the interviewee is talking about.
I see.
So
Just thought not everyone may not know that. And I know
yeah,
you've done thousands of commercials over the years, and it's almost like fingernails on a blackboard when you see really bad commercials. But I know you aspire to do quality commercials, or there's other people that can do the really bad commercials, right?
well, yeah, I mean, that's right. That's right. There's good and bad commercials, and I'm sure I in years past we've probably had to do some not so great commercials too. But at this point in my career, I look to do the better ones. Yeah.
That's
Mm-hmm.
good to know for the people that matters to, because some people truly don't know the difference, or somehow they want to squeeze a kid in there and come up with ideas that I can't turn the channel fast enough. Now, the field has changed a lot over the year in technology and what people are doing. Use of video. Video is everywhere now, and the internet, and revolutionary. So when you're in something that long, I mean, I went to school for this stuff, and I don't have a clue about the equipment now. And a lot of it, especially in the early time, it was extremely expensive, and all these different formats and all, I mean, it's a changing field. That could be a show on itself. But did you want to make any comments about how the field has changed, and where it's at and where it possibly may be going, and how you've adapted?
Yeah, sure. Well, when we first opened our doors, we were the only digital facility in this part of the state. Everybody else was analog, and so we had a big big advantage. Now that was digital on tape, but nonetheless it was digital. And all of a sudden the world of nonlinear digital was starting to pop up, and we had very quickly moved to nonlinear digital, which is the world of digital on computers. So
I see.
You can jump around in time. You can jump from the beginning to the end of something that you're looking at without having to fast forward through it. In other words, if you're watching something on YouTube at the beginning, you can jump to the end of it in a second's time. Prior to nonlinear, you had to fast forward. That was called linear. It took time. You had to wait till you could get to the end of it. Now with nonlinear, you could jump around in your piece in a very short period of time. So anyway, we had the first nonlinear systems around here, and we were very busy, very, very busy, and things changed very quickly, of course, and yeah, so that kept us very busy. Time changed, the technology changed from standard definition to high definition. We got the first high definition equipment around, and of course we were producing commercials in high def and feeding them to the various facilities, and at that time none of them could accept in high def, so everything had to be down converted, but that was fine. And then everybody was catching up, so yeah, and here we are now, moving on to 4K, which is the next step, and even some other formats which are greater than 4K. So things keep on changing.
It's
Kind of like
interesting. I'm sorry.
kind
Go
of
on.
like the iPhone thing. You just get done buying the greatest and best iPhone, and then good old Apple comes out with the next one.
And now it's interesting that YouTube is the second largest search engine next to Google. So that tells you how video is growing.
Yeah, and Google owns YouTube. So
Right. That's a good
uh,
point there. But it's, and a lot of people are doing video, but in multisensory learning, when you can, I know with podcasts, a lot of them are still audio, but it depends on how people learn and assume information. But gosh, and now videos seem to get shorter and shorter in certain social environments. But yet there still has to be a big difference when something is well done, well conceived, and is quality. And if it's some quality company, isn't that what they'd want to go for rather than something that looks like their nephew did it, who's still in high school?
well, I certainly believe in that. Um, and I know that there are plenty of people out there that do believe in quality. Um,
Yeah, it's I'm very auditory, so even in music, I can tell the difference when somebody is really masterful at their instrument and is in tune and is brilliant and all of that. Just like when you go to a restaurant, just because they sell a lot of something doesn't make it a gourmet healthy meal. That's for sure.
that's
And
that's
so,
right. For a while, after I moved up here to Wausau, back from Madison, and set up Golden Icon and was doing Golden Icon, I was also working for another guy in Madison on the weekends, John Roach, a friend of mine. He had a shop, and he would hire me to edit for him on the weekends, and he did high-end work for companies like Miller and Coors and various other large companies. And his whole mantra was to produce small, short videos for these companies, quick videos, but high-end videos. And they saw the value in that. And it was extremely successful. And John knew that hiring seasoned editors that knew how to edit, knew how to do things correctly, and he would bring us in, and there were a number of us on his list. We came in, we put the piece together in 8 hours. He'd send it out. He had revisions. We'd put the revisions in, and it would go out the door in a couple of days. And that was an example of doing it right. And that was those were the type of clients that they wanted it done right, and they paid for it. And
they probably get better results, more sales, a better image when you do that. Wouldn't that be so?
Oh yeah. Well, they're at the top of their game, some of those clients now. I mean, he had a slew of clients that we did videos for and shot for. I did a little bit of shooting for him, but not too much. He would shoot during the week in various places around the country and then bring the footage back and have us whip it together on the weekends. So it was quite an outfit. And then I'd come back, I'd go down on Sunday or Saturday mornings and stay overnight Saturday night and do the revisions on Sunday and then drive back Sunday night. So it was quite an operation. And yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, those are good examples of why quality and value, because very competitively, you can get someone that's going to get you more results. and give you the quality image you're looking for and make it more memorable. And the value is, someone like you in central Wisconsin is very competitive, and it would be like using really bad paint. You have to paint the next year, or whatever. But any last thoughts on how important quality and value is? What's the difference, and why should people be more mindful of that? Any comment on that?
Oh, I could, but it would take too long to.
Okay. I get it. Now, we only had so much time in this podcast here today, and we want to share something about something you got coming up too. Any last thoughts you'd like to share with the audience, even people interested in this field, about what mindset and passion you should bring to it, and how important it is to seek excellence and enjoy what you're doing? Could you share any last thoughts for the audience, both up and coming professionals or people out there making decisions about this technology?
Well, feel free to talk to somebody who knows what they're talking about. How's that?
Well, yeah, just like if you were educated by Van Gogh or a master, that usually has a big influence when people recognize who you've been taught by. And I remember there was this story, and it was like a little story, almost like a poem, about in the master's hand. And there was an auction, and they were auctioning off this old dilapidated looking violin that people didn't recognize. It didn't look like much. The bidding started, et cetera, and the prices weren't real high. Then a master violinist walked up to that violin and started playing it. And the bidding continued to go up and skyrocket, because they realized that in a master's hand, the value of that violin came forward. I've always enjoyed that little story. Now,
Yeah.
I'll share a little more detail. You got a 26th anniversary get together coming up on October 11th. Did you want to make any comments about that? You're even giving out an award. I'll give people the details right after you share.
Yeah, we're just having a get together to thank, past clients and present clients, and hopefully have some new clients show up too. Inviting some people that we hope will sign up with us, and look forward to doing some new work with. It's a gathering, to celebrate our 26 years of being in business here in this part of the state. Yeah. So.
And I know you've had a relationship for all 26 years with Incredible Bank. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And they've been with you since the beginning. And over time, they've grown in success, and they have the Incredible Bank Foundation. And you're going to be giving out a special Heart of the Community Award to them, which I know you're going to be making annual now to other nonprofits and foundations. Did you want to mention Incredible Bank?
Sure. Yeah, they've changed names since we started. Originally they were River Valley, but they a couple of years ago rebranded themselves, and that's fine. They've grown quite a bit over time, which is fantastic. So we want to thank them for being there for us. They were there for us on day one, helped us get going, and so yeah, we want to make sure that they're there and give them a big thank you.
Great. Well, I'm going to share a little bit more now for those that may be interested in coming to that event. And you can also go on to the goldeniconproductions.com website, where there'll be a page there for this, where you can respond that you're coming to the event so we know what to plan for. So again, you'll find that on goldeniconproductions.com. So as Steve mentioned, he is celebrating the 26-year anniversary of being in business in Wausau, Wisconsin the whole time, and being a very active part of the community. And this is on Wednesday, October 11th, starting at 5:30 p.m. and it goes until about 8 p.m. It's going to be pretty casual. The award for the Incredible Bank Foundation will be given out at approximately 6:30 p.m., which we're pretty excited about. And Steve is, from how he was raised, his background, his history, and his feeling about community, likes to celebrate the nonprofits that do important work. He's had a lot of nonprofit clients as well. So this is an in-person event, and it's being held at the City Square Office Center. That's the same building as the BMO Harris at 500 North 3rd Street, Wausau, Wisconsin. And the event is located in the first floor. You may consider it the lower level, as I do when I go visit there. And it's in their large meeting room down there. And we'll be sharing wine, beer, soft drinks, and appetizers will be included. And, as I mentioned, the Heart of the Community Award will be given to Incredible Bank. And they will have an esteemed representative there, Leslie Osman, who's the VP of Marketing, that will be receiving the award for Incredible Bank and their foundation. And so that's a great thing. It's, celebrating the goodness of a career and looking forward positively as well. And we'll also have fun sharing special memories, fascinating stories, and some testimonials. And attending this event will be a mix of local business, community leaders, past clients, friends, hopefully some future clients, family, and those who, who've gotten to know Steve over many years being in the community and that care about him and recognize him for his many years of contribution. And so thanks again, Steve. And again, it's Steve Mady, and it's from the Golden Icon Productions, which certainly is esteemed from anyone who's worked with him. It's a pleasure and privilege to be having you on here for this podcast. And again, visit goldeniconproduction.com to find out more. And Steve, did you want to make a closing comment?
Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Looking forward to October 11th and hope to see all of you there.
Yeah, we're optimistic that it'll be a good group and great energy and well worth going to this wonderful event. And so thanks again. And again, I'm Robert Browning from Success Solutions International. Wishing you the best. Hope to see you on October 11th. Bye-bye.